Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We provide fan-oriented and analytic discussions on a variety of animated shows, movies, and anime, currently featuring Steven Universe, Miraculous Ladybug, and Star vs. the Forces of Evil. I'm Delaney Stovall. I know it sounds an awful like Dylan, but it's not the same at all. And today I'm joined by Justin Cummings.
Hello, everybody.
And Michelle Anderer.
Hey, guys.
And today we are discussing the latest episode of Steven Universe, Mindful Education, which aired today, August 25th. So, we'll just, nope, no news. We'll just get around. Alright. So, alright. Justin Cummings, what were your initial thoughts on the episode?
I really liked the episode. I thought it was great. And this show loves moral of the story kind of things. And we've gotten some complex ones in the past. I've talked about a lot of stuff, like full disclosure. This to me was that next step. This was such a complex idea, right? I still struggle with this. Like last week, I struggle with this kind of thing. And for a show on Cartoon Network to tackle this in the way they did, it was so well executed. And this was the kind of Stovall episode we needed. This is what we wanted out of Beach City Drift that we didn't get. This was the kind of Stovall episode we all wanted. This kind of reference back to that little thing that happened with Beach City Drift. Finally, we got that song. This was the perfect song for Estelle, who plays Garnet. Everything about this episode just felt really, really, really solid. I think it might be one of my favorites.
All right, Michelle?
I also really, really like this episode. And I agree that it was very gratifying to see them try to talk about this issue of just like, you know, when you regret doing something or you regret the aftermath of a situation, it's really hard to try to divorce yourself from it. And you kind of, I think sort of the lesson was you shouldn't divorce yourself. You should just let yourself feel what you're feeling as a way of working through it. And understanding it and, you know, learning more about yourself in the process. And I think that's just it's so great. And the song, I feel like that's one of the songs that's going to stick with me. And like when I'm dealing with something bad, I'm going to like play it back and be like, it is okay. It is okay. Like, we're going to figure this out. Like, the world's not ending. And the animation was just so gorgeous. I know we're probably going to talk about the guest animator who did this, but like, oh my God, it was so beautiful. And just so many feelings. This is one of those episodes that just like made my heart so happy. And it's probably one of my favorites at this point also.
Same. We're all in agreement. I also was like crying, tears, you know. I think it's such a relatable episode. It's quite arguably one of the most relatable episodes of the series, and of anything ever. And I guess we're just going to jump into the topic of the song, because I guess that's what we all want to talk about, because clearly that is the most memorable thing of the episode. We also haven't had, we had, Mr. Greg, the musical episode, and we had a song?
Yes, there was a song in Greg the Babysitter.
Right.
Yes.
So, like, this
is... Very
is...
different kind of song.
Right. So, like, since Mr. Greg, this is probably, like, the first, like, cry, Garnet's singing, we're all, like, in the floor, like, someone rescue us, scoop us up with the spatula, you know.
Stovall sang in my heart.
Oh, she was so good, too. Or I should say, they were so good.
Voice actress, yeah. Or is it one person, or is it two? How did they do that?
That's what I was trying to figure out the whole time. I do want to say that I forgot to mention at the beginning that this that Mindful Education was written and storyboarded by Colin Howard, Jeff Liu, and Takafumi Hori. I apologize if I mispronounced that. And so, the song, guys. What? Alright, what are the... Obviously, Stovall singing is like, screaming, fangirling, fan self. But also...
Are those keeping... What?
Well, I was just, Dylan sent me notes. Dylan's presence is felt always,
Dylan
everyone.
Sent you notes?
Of course he sent me notes. Like,
you didn't send me notes, I'm mad.
But you're like, it's the feedback. Do you need notes for feedback? He doesn't know what the feedback is.
I know what the feedback is. I do the feedback.
Exactly, you don't need notes for it. Anyway.
I would like them.
Speaking of which, send feedback to Justin. Oh my God.
Justin.
Feedback to Justin at justin@overlyanimated, is that the email.com?
Yeah. Yes.
Do that. Because you can send your questions and comments for the feedback, which will be on...
that's going to be Saturday morning, so get those to me before 9:30 a.m. Saturday Eastern Daylight Time.
Tumblr?
Right, you can send Tumblr to me, Friendly Geeks 3. You can find a link on the Overly Animated webpage. Also, if you leave comments on this video on the website, I will accept those too.
there y'all go. So,
but put like spoiler warnings.
Yes, don't traumatize anyone who's trying to listen I guess if they're listening, they've seen.
Well, it'll spoil the discussion.
That's true. But we'll remind y'all at the end to send your feedback. But if you're you're dying to send feedback right now, do it.
Right this second.
Right this minute, go.
I want it all.
But
I want to see if anyone can trump the theory from last week.
So we're not even going to go there.
Okay, we talked about that. We're going to move on because Delaney's still traumatized from that 30-second discussion.
Oh god, yeah. Okay.
So talking about the song. So part of Dylan's notes. I didn't know this because I was really awful at keeping up with Comic-Con stuff this summer, but so this song was played at Comic-Con.
Mm-hmm.
And so, big deal, obviously the emotions behind the song, and Rebecca Sugar said that, this was about her overcoming hard times and definitely about facing depression. And what? That's almost like what the episode was about. Weird. How does that happen? So, let's talk about how, I don't necessarily think it's the most interesting because I understand, but let's start some discussion about, do y'all think it's odd that Garnet was singing the song? And then, let's talk about that a little bit. Were you struck, why is Garnet singing this song?
Because she's been fused the longest, so she's probably had the most practice trying to manage, strong emotions from both sides of herself. So, I thought it made a lot of sense that she was the one who started it off.
Justin?
What we're starting to see, and this is so cool. The gems at the beginning, they all kind of cared for Steve, and now they have their special roles. Amethyst is that kind of weapon ability trainer, while Pearl's more of the specific sword techniques, while Garnet's kind of their fusion coach, basically.
Fusion coach.
And she really, really is, and I like that role. And I think this was a very calm moment, and I love this parallel because this song just took the record for longest song away from Stronger Than You.
True.
And that was the other big Garnet song. And that one, it was very, sassy Garnet, powerful, awesome. This was very calm. This was that other side of Garnet. And I think this played to Estelle's strengths more. I think I prefer this one to Stronger Than You. I know that's a very bold statement.
That is a very bold statement.
It is, but I think it played to her strengths more. I think it was something she was a bit more comfortable with because, that's more the pace of her songs. And all in all, though, it's just Garnet was the perfect fit for this song because I know no one knew who was going to sing it. And the moment Garnet started, I was like, this is the right way to do it.
I think I agree.
Yeah, it's a compelling case you made.
Well, so. I think people forget, we don't know that much about Garnet. We know Garnet is a walking lesbian relationship. That's what we know.
Two lesbians in a trench coat.
Yeah, that's what we know. And, we have Pearl's, tragic backstory. We have Amethyst's tragic backstory. We just finished...
it's nice that Garnet's not tragic.
But the thing is, though, we don't know that much about Garnet. And I think this might be the beginning of us exploring a little bit more. And we're beginning to see Ruby and Sapphire more, which, in of itself is sad because they're not together, they're not Garnet. And... So I think I do think it makes a lot of sense. I'm sure that, the discourse will begin on Tumblr, and we'll see, what the fandom, granted it's Garnet singing It's Estelle, who is going to complain about this?
Right.
No one. But I do think, gotta talk about it, because who would have thunk it?
A lot of people I know thought, okay, and here's the thing, everyone was convinced that this was going to be Sapphire teaching Stevani from promotional material we saw,
Mm-hmm.
and I did not expect this use of Sapphire. I thought, and Ruby by extension. I think the aesthetic choice for this song was so beautiful and so different. I think having Garnet sing it, you can, for all the discourse of Garnet shouldn't have been the one to do it, or the song wasn't right for Garnet, or blah, 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 whatever people are going to say, the last shot of Steve and Connie, Ruby and Sapphire laying back, looking up, that shot is worth it alone.
Tears.
It was very reminiscent of Pearl and Greg laying down during their number, and Mr. Greg too, which I thought was interesting.
I apologize for the roaming pack behind me.
Roaming pack? Are they lions?
Yes, there's 7 of them actually.
Oh
3 males, 4 females.
We can't! Okay.
Anyway.
Delaney, save us from that conversation.
So I guess we'll probably rotate back to the song because, I mean, we're like, oh my god, singing it in our head. Yeah. Like, I've seen the episode like 4 times now. Everyone knows. Anyway. So, I guess, the natural progression would be about Steven and Connie and Stovall in this episode, which of course is the focus. So, what do you think? Is this the best Steven and Connie development episode? Best Stovall episode? Like, what are our thoughts and feelings about Stovall right now? Justin, you want to start us off?
All right. Best Stovall episode. Alone Together, I think, was the best. Maybe Crack the Whip.
You don't think this is a contender?
This took it from Full Disclosure. Full Disclosure, I think, was, or not Full Disclosure. Alone Together was. This is now the best Stovall episode. Like, that's not a question. And I think, though, that the best Steven and Connie episode might still be Full Disclosure because it's between those two. Maybe Bubble Buddies, but really Full Disclosure and this one, we get these kind of deep moments. And I've talked a lot about how Full Disclosure is this kind of gender reversal showing that it's okay for a guy to have feelings and talk about it. And this episode, we don't get like, oh, here's one episode where Steven helps Connie and then a separate one where Connie helps Steven. This episode we got both. And so I think it might be the best one now. Because it shows their relationship so well in so little time.
Michelle?
I can't definitively say this is the best because I think the reason this one works so well is because it had so many strong Steven Connie episodes that came before to make it as good as it was. Because, like, even, like, honestly, like, Line to the Movie, I thought was a really good Steven Connie episode, and that was, like, the first time we really saw, like, Connie's insecurities about being, like, a normal person and how, like, that didn't matter to Steven because, like, for him, normal stuff was so cool because magic stuff was so normal. And it was just, like, I thought that
school,
was...
So
yeah, he doesn't go to school. Like, school fascinates him. And I think that was such a cool insight. And just, like, Alone Together is, like, another kind of, like, they're both just trying to figure things out and figure out, how they feel and like what they're doing. And it's so like natural and nice and interesting. And I don't think this episode would mean as much if that hadn't come first. So I can't say that this is like a great episode. And I think the characterization is really strong. I think, the pacing's like really, really tight, but I can't say it's better because there's so many other really good moments, and I think this works as well as it does because of those earlier episodes. So I'd say maybe like top 3 Steven Connie episodes, but like I don't know if it can steal the top spot.
What about Stovall?
Ooh, I really like Stovall and Alone Together too, though. There's something about just like the first time you see them, like
yeah, and that's like it's the first time it's like, oh my god, they're a fusion. What?
I guess I could say this is my second fave Stovall episode.
I mean,
I can say that.
I'm gonna pull a Dylan here and be like, "You're wrong. This is the best." I'm just kidding. I do think this is. I mean, I think this is obviously like a personal preference, aside. Like I do think from like a narrative perspective, this kind of has to be the best Stovall episode. It is the culmination, which we can't ignore. That this is the culmination of Stovall, but this is also the culmination of fusion. Like this is the fusion episode, and for us to explore it with Garnet and Stovall, like that's amazing. Like these are the fusions, I think, for the show. Like obviously everyone has their favorite. Like Sardonyx is my personal favorite after Garnet, but we have we have Garnet, which is the fusion. Like, oh my god, we didn't even know she was a fusion. What? Garnet? And then coaching Stovall, as Justin said, the fusion coach. But here we have everything they talked about in this episode, we kind of knew already. We, like, don't freak out or you'll unfuse, duh. Like, you guys have to be in sync. Like, you gotta dance right. I don't know, it kind of works. Fuse. But we really did, like, fully explore, and of course, and we say this a lot on the podcast, like, inferring things and actually being told something is very different in media, like, actually watching something and seeing it. And, Garnet finally, I think, pulled back the veil a little bit on the mystery of fusion, and to do it through Stovall, I think, this kind of makes it.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. Or are you going to say something, Justin?
I thought Know Your Fusion was going to be the fusion episode because, it had title.
Nope.
But,
they got you.
But no, I think this is definitely if I were to explain fusion to someone, I would show them this episode instead of like Giant Woman, honestly.
I mean, we got all like Guru Patik, like Garnet became the guru and then was like, we must find balance, literally like meditation pose, like Avatar, let's sit across from each other. I mean, we were just missing tea. Like, that is the only thing we were missing. And we were even in like, which I guess moving, like, we're cycling back. Delaney's really bad at like topics, but, this also leads into like, this episode is, again, we have like these really weird episodes of Steven Universe. We're like, what's going on? And this wasn't weird in the way Know Your Fusion was weird, or the way Buddy's book was weird, but we have, that was the name of the episode, right?
Yes.
We have this abstract, we're in the spirit world, in the, like, mind space, like, in the universe pocket thing.
This was weird in that it was deep within the show's mythos. As opposed to being weird stylistically, it was simply weird as far as the show's story deviates from reality. So I think it was the culmination, I guess, of their plot, as opposed to being
like
weird within the context of the show.
Culmination of their plot in what way? Like, do you mean fusion? Do you mean like the mythos of the show?
I mean like the mythos of the show, like the mythos of fusion. Like, this is like the best way to explain Steven Universe and how abstract and science fiction-y and spiritual it gets. Like, this is the way to do it.
Michelle, thoughts? Little stoned?
Well, I mean, I'm just not sure if I agree, but I do think, because I've kind of noticed a lot, like, in the Steve Bonnie episodes we tend to focus on how they end up being in this weird kind of like mental state world, and I think it's been kind of up for discussion, like, what that is. And now this episode has shown us very clearly, it's like, it results from one or more of their anxieties about something. And it creates, and Gardner was like saying, it like creates like this space where like it's hard to stay fused because like if you're not okay, like you can't be in balance, right? So that was really nice to get kind of confirmation on. And it was really nice to see that, like Connie had her moment, but then Steven also has his moment, because Steven has his own like problem, because like his initial advice to Connie was like, oh, yeah, it sucks when you regret things, you just don't need to think about it, just try not to think about it. And that ended up being like the complete wrong advice, and he figured that out, and I think that was really nice too, because one of the things, even like I've said before, like I don't really ship Steven and Connie, but like one thing the show does really, really well is they support each other like 100%, and it's never like more Connie or more Steven. It's very, very, very equally balanced, and I think this episode did a really good job of that too. They were both there for each other. They both helped each other out. They were both insecure about things, and they helped each other move past it, or at least get to a point where they were okay. And I think that's like one of the best takeaways from it moving forward. And just even as like a life lesson,
Life lesson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, seriously though.
But what about the, like, your thoughts on the abstract space, like, and how that ties in? Of course, that all ties in together. Going back to what Justin said, was this: we're dealing with these kind of complicated, real life, very relatable issues, but then we're also dealing with it in this kind of like weird way, and also made the most sense. We have all these songs in every episode, but like this time, it's like this didn't really happen. It's all in your head, Harry. Like that kind of stuff.
I like it. I mean, I think part of that's too that we're dealing with like an animated medium, so like why not take advantage of that to be as creative as possible in conveying these ideas in a visual way, I think that's like probably a lot of incentive for why they've been doing it the way they have, and I think that is really cool, and I appreciate it a lot, even if like it's abstract enough that you can also kind of like take what you want from it. It's not so clear cut that like exactly what's going on, but it's like enough to decide for yourself, and I like that too. I like that idea.
Well, they kept it concrete too. They, it was like, in Dylan's notes, he was like, a lot of the episode didn't happen in real life, but they kept it grounded. Like, Stovall literally fell off a cliff because she was hallucinating. Like, thank you for like not forgetting that she was moving, and I can't remember, they were moving, and they fell off a cliff, and it's like, I'm glad we established that. So it was kind of this abstract, things were going on, but it was also like, I think it was just visually confusing at times, but it was like, you got it, you knew it was going on, it was
mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
So
I agree. It's a good point. It is grounded in reality, and I appreciated that they were popping in and out, but you never lost track of what was like actually happening in real time.
I think it's less abstract than it might seem on like first glance.
Yeah,
it's abstract, definitely, but they keep it grounded, and I think that kept the pacing really well for this episode.
Mm-hmm. I think I just had an idea about what the visuals of the butterfly represented, and like a big theme of why we really needed Garnet, and how this actually does teach us a lot about Garnet. Do you want to do that now, or wait till we? Okay, I thought that too earlier. Like they showed up, and all I think was "Fly, my little Akuma."
No, I saw butterflies, and I was like, "They're good butterflies." I feel conflicted.
Miraculous. Do you want to wait till we get to that part in the outline, or do you just want to discuss the song and its elements now?
I think we can go ahead and discuss it if you'd like. I wouldn't want you to lose your train of thought. And given this episode, there's so much to talk about, we might not go all the way through. Like, we don't need to go joke by joke. Like, okay, Garnet had like the really funny sign.
Oh my god,
like, that's hilarious. And then
the best Garnet joke was the callback where she was like, hold the phone. All right, now give the phone
to me.
Like,
that was really funny.
Excellent. So that's it kind of for like our jokes and like Bald Steven, which really wasn't that funny. Like, I wouldn't have laughed. Sorry. Connie also didn't laugh. Sorry, Steven.
Okay, so what I think, the butterfly, I'm pretty sure each butterfly individually is one thought, right? It's one idea. Mm-hmm. This is why we saw the one butterfly appear on Rose's sword, the one butterfly in Connie's hand. Garnet says, here comes a thought, and then one butterfly. So you've got Ruby, the whole song, fighting this one butterfly, this one single thought. Like, Ruby's just so angry with this. And because we've seen Rubies are, I'm not going to say dumb, I'm going to say simple.
Simple.
It makes sense that Ruby would, this one thought just overwhelm Ruby and just make her so angry. And then we look over and Sapphire is just swarmed. Each one of those being like one of these thoughts of this magnitude.
Well, she also can see the future.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, we forget, I think, Ruby was a grunt, a foot soldier in this hive mind army. Yeah. Right. Sapphire was a high up, sophisticated, noble, like informant.
She was on the
kind
court.
Of gem. Right. She probably saw some terrible things that happened in her time.
Well, she even saw terrible things. Yeah, she saw terrible things that didn't happen. Like,
exactly.
That's the worst.
All these thoughts, especially once like her future vision, because it was perfect, like a crystal ball. Then it became, because we saw after her and Ruby fused, it kind of became, I don't want to say tainted, but not quite as perfect. Like more what we see of Garnet's now, and that's got to make things even more complicated. So I think showing that dichotomy between the two, showing just what Sapphire went through, because we really have gotten no reason to sympathize with Sapphire besides, she's part of Garnet.
Well, I mean, it's kind of the same thing.
True.
Well, hey, no, it's kind of okay. We really don't know that much about Garnet and Ruby and Sapphire. Like, we love them, but like Keystone Motel, like, okay, that was a great episode, but did we really learn anything? No. I mean, of course, we learned a lot in The Answer, of course. Granted, that's more about, like, more mythos about the diamonds and this, and this.
I mean, I think there's a difference between learning, like, plot stuff about characters and learning, like, characterization. I think Keystone Motel, we learned a lot about the characterization of, like, how Ruby and Sapphire are different and how they handle conflict differently.
Well, yeah, no, definitely. We got
in that sense, I think we did learn things, but yes, not very much plot.
And I think this was such a cool way to explain this kind of dichotomy. You can probably read more into it than I am, but I think it was just so visual. It's such a beautiful way to convey this concept that they could have simply had like Ruby getting upset about, I don't know, a rock, like an earth rock, stupid earth rock that's not sentient. But I think the way they did it was much, much better than that, and I think it was a great way to kind of sneak in this characterization in a Stovall episode.
I think I'd have to agree. I do think it's very subtle. I don't necessarily think you're reading too much into it or too little. I think also the big thing here for me about like the butterflies and the thoughts is that the really interesting take we went on this, and Michelle, we talked about this a little earlier. When we were discussing the song. These thoughts are. It's not. Like, some of the song is about what people do to you and say about you, but the majority of it is what we do to other people. And I think and we kind of have these in these 4 different characters here, and then in their fusions, we have these, we have representation for, like, kind of different, like, how these things kind of impact different people. Like, we have Connie who, bursts from her backpack, and we see, just how completely torn up she is about, which she judo threw that kid and then broke his arm. Like, whoa, Connie. Yeah. And then, of course, and with Steven, we had, the one thought, which, honestly, that's a little interesting, because for the most part with Steven, it was what he had done to other people. It was, Bismuth and Jasper, and I was honestly shocked to see Eyeball. I was legitimately shocked.
I mean, think about it. It's every gem Steven had a hand in, not even poofing with Eyeball's case.
Threw
but
them
I think, it was.
I didn't think we'd get that back. I'm very glad that they did.
We talked recently about how Steven hasn't really had a chance to cope with these deaths that he's basically caused, and
I mean, he's literally like looking at his 14. Past traumas. Like, it's like, let's encounter all the traumas. Steven, like,
go on a field trip.
And I don't know if this is what they meant by it, but all I could think when it turned into Rose was Steven has this thought that it's my fault she's dead, just by the association with the other three we saw. It, like, the logical next step is, I killed Bismuth, I killed Jasper, I killed the Rubies, I killed my mother.
Yeah, I mean, I think
and so, like, that was...
It also raises more questions.
Yeah, it does.
Because it's like, that's not just it, though, either. Like, obviously, I mean, Steven's been struggling with this. We've been going here, and here with, we've been building Rose. Did Rose shatter Pink Diamond? We keep being told yes, but what do we believe? What does Steven believe? We don't really know what's going on. Steven's like, thanks for telling me, but...
yeah,
I feel like I feel like Steven's been around long enough to be like, I don't really know what's going on. I don't believe you, but... And we keep, just everything just keeps piling up. Like, Rose gets, sneaks into Buddy's book and suddenly has 7 lions, and then we come to this, and it's not just, I killed my mother, which, I mean, I feel like that's what everyone's thinking about all the time, because it's like, Steven's really cool, but, like, this is so awkward. Like, yeah, you have all these, like, rock moms, but they're, like, all kind of in love with your mom, and she's dead because she, like, turned into you? This is awkward. Like, this is pretty awkward. So, I mean, I think that's probably the most obvious we'll go with. But I think we're getting more into it. I think there's more there, and obviously I want to explore that more. We need, like, the entire fandom's like, yep, we know, got it, checked off the box of things we know. But it doesn't really get addressed on the show. They're just like, we love you, Steven, we love you for you. But no, I'm literally my mom. Like, I don't...
Mm-hmm.
So.
And, the show hasn't really given Steven a break up to this point to think about it either, so this is probably the first time he's really spending time, like, with all these things at once, too, which is, like, a lot. So,
it's definitely
I don't know, if Connie hadn't been there, it probably would have been pretty overwhelming.
And what about time to think about it as you're falling to your death? But here's the thing, Steven wouldn't have died. I think as he slowed down, he could have stopped himself. Connie, on the other hand...
He could have grabbed Connie, though. Like, I think he can hold Connie and float at the same time. That was my immediate thought.
He could hold that boat up in the air and Steven floats. He could hold Connie.
True. Yeah. There's, come on, Steven, get it together. But, I mean, it's pretty traumatic.
Yeah, he was having a moment. That's okay.
I mean, I think it makes up a little bit, too, for, like... Because I think they use Connie a little bit in this episode, like, to just, not necessarily for Steven, but, like, obviously Connie's the impetus. Like, we have this, we're falling apart, and it forces Steven to think about things he admitted to, I mean, not necessarily directly, but he admitted to not thinking about those things. Like, he hasn't been thinking about Centipedal, he hasn't been thinking about Bismuth and Eyeball, and, like, these, I mean, in his mind, horrible things that he's done, and, like, objectively, perhaps, but he's, like Connie said, he did what he had to do. And I do think it's interesting he finally said, you wouldn't let me help you, and I think that's the first, like, really, like...
Yeah, because we've been waiting for that with Steven for a while, and how he would deal with that when it hafpened. Because we knew he couldn't just, like, help everyone out. That's not how things work.
Or hitting the wall I've been talking about.
We're finally hitting that wall.
The wall.
After years. Yeah.
It just came in like a butterfly tornado.
It came in like a wrecking ball.
No.
Oh my god, no.
Dylan somewhere is screaming. The force was disturbed. He felt it.
Screaming, sell Justin, sell Justin.
Sell Justin. Sell. Any further thoughts on the thoughts?
I think we need to get into the rest.
Yeah.
Because there is like a lot to this episode.
There is. I mean,
for sure.
We touched a little bit more about Rose. I mean, do we want to talk more about that? what else is there? I don't know where we're
I mean,
going.
I know it's going to get downplayed. I want to talk about the fact that it was something Connie did. Because obviously, the moment the episode begins, you're like, something's wrong with Connie. Most shows would have gone the route of 12-year-old girl, something happened to her, right?
Right.
They would have, I don't want to say played the victim card, but played the victim card.
Yes.
They would have made it so something happened to Connie and Steven had to console her. Most shows would have gone that route. They did not. Connie objectively did something bad. She didn't mean to, but she did.
No, she judo through that kid and broke his arm.
Yes. She didn't mean to, but she did.
And then she ran away and was like, ooh, you could have at least, like, helped the kid up, man. Like, ooh.
So I think the fact that they gave Connie agency, I think, and I really, really enjoyed that.
Well, they're maintaining. I mean, they've always been giving Connie agency. Yeah. I do think this speaks a lot to her character.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where, you know, Connie, of course Connie would, I mean, even Steven was like, that doesn't sound like you, like, what? Maybe you're overplaying. Yeah. She did say I beat somebody up. She didn't beat somebody up. Like,
not exactly, she just, like,
well, she did break someone's arm.
She did break his arm. Honestly, I'm a little confused by how, like, as someone who can do a judo throw, like, little sketch about the broken arm thing. Like, his back would hurt. If she jerked him hard enough.
And, like, well, we don't know if it's, because it seemed we only saw the sling. It's possible, like, she messed up. If she messed up his collarbone, that's
true. Yeah, collarbone. That makes a lot more sense. That's probably what it is.
I like that theory.
Yeah, because they didn't say broke his arm.
True. He was just in a sling, and that's like natural.
Yeah.
As you know, I had could have sprained his wrist. I was in a sling when I sprained my wrist. That would definitely hurt your wrist.
Get judo thrown and break a collarbone. Yes, that's quite possibly it.
Yes, you know, getting judo thrown just not good stuff. Also. Wow, girl, you judo through that kid. Like, I'm impressed. You shouldn't have done it, but impressive. Also, it's kind of a throwback to the training. Like, Connie, you're getting real
training
good.
is paying off.
It's paying off. I mean,
you broke
a kid, but it's
working.
Can
we talk about the fact that the guy's name was Jeff, and Jeff Liu was one of the storyboarders for this episode?
They just wanted Connie to break Jeff. I guess that's just what we need to name this kid.
One day, Colin got really mad at Jeff in writing this episode, and just like,
I'm gonna break your collarbone,
I don't think Jeff would even mind. He'd be like, no, Connie's pretty cool.
Connie got me.
Wouldn't have to do it. Yeah.
Seems legit. I mean, I do think it worked really well, and like, you know, we were talking earlier that this, like, starting with Connie, and, you know, Steven being like, are you okay? And then moving forward, and then Connie, you know, naturally she would sort herself out first. That's just very in character. And then for her to help Steven, which I think it is really important that in this case, even though they had that talk with Garnet, it wasn't Garnet there for Steven, it was Connie, and we need to keep having that. You know, Connie is so underutilized in this series, and I think we're reaching this point where I think we're going to be seeing more and more and more and more of Connie, and she's, you know, how many times have we seen Stevani now in, like, the past, like, 3 weeks?
Since Gem Hunt, Connie is, I don't want to say been a constant, but she's popped up a bit.
Yeah, like, this is, we've seen Connie quite a bit. And it's, you know, in comparison to the rest of the series, it's like, Connie's finally arrived. Connie is here. She has her sword. Like, this is, I think, what we've been waiting for. So I think this bodes well in general for where we're going. I mean, obviously it was really sad and, like, hurt us. And clearly Steven isn't done. Like, we have so much more ground to cover. Steven, like, has to actually talk about stuff, and, you know.
Yeah, I hate when people are like, oh, Steven wouldn't actually act like this. Steven wouldn't get upset by this. He's only 14, and he's losing track of people he's murdered.
He murdered, like, 4 people. Like, I would cry. Like,
I see... I think people forget Steven's age, and I think this episode did a very good job reminding us. I mean, at any age, that's going to be traumatic, but he's 14.
Well, I think it's part of it, too, is that the show, I mean, this is it. We haven't addressed the things Steven's been through. Like, you know, we talked about it in Bismuth. You know, Steven went through a lot in Bismuth. You know, we have these little hints here and there. You know, he's injured, and, like, you know, just the way he looks. And then, you know, we keep going forward, and it's like, can Steven take a nap? Like, can we just sit him down? Like, can we put a blanket on him or something?
Can we watch 11 minutes of Steven sleeping just to know he's okay?
Right, like, is Steven okay? Yeah. And he didn't even get to go to bed in, like, Kiki's Pizza. Like, hello? But,
that's a good point.
Like, when does he sleep? But, you know, this is it. We're finally addressing everything that's happened, you know, in the past 20 episodes, and, like, which honestly, it's a little surprising that we haven't gone a little bit, like, there's still more. We've been talking, you know, we talked about Centipedal, we've revisited Centipedal, and we're working through it. But this is it. This is the first time we're really, and honestly, kind of the really first direct, Rose. We have like this Voldemort evil ball of like Order of the Phoenix water ball stuff with the thoughts, and then it's Rose. Like, wow, Steven, you have some mom issues, man. Like, whew, which we already knew, but this is the first, I think, really direct reference to it. We have comments here and here, but like this is it.
Was this more direct than Mom? Those are some complicated emotions.
It could be a toss-up. Obviously having dialogue is like, you could consider like in of itself more direct.
Yeah.
But we also have like this really violent, the ball.
Like it still will not top stars. I have mom issues.
No, exactly. But also, Rose was like glaring at Steven. I don't like.
Yeah,
that's some like disappointment.
Which you can interpret like a couple ways, probably too, which leaves it open for interpretation. Of course, like Steven literally saying those things are complicated leaves it open for interpretation. So,
of course,
if the thoughts could speak, that episode would have gotten a lot more disturbing very, very fast.
I'm glad that didn't happen. Why did you bring that up? Like.
Imagine Rose's voice. You did this to me. You killed me. No, Steven.
I'm so glad. I was afraid Bismuth was going to talk, and I was like, I can't deal with this. I can't. I was going to have to turn off. Like, I was
that would have
been
really rough.
See, if they had let one talk, they would have had to make them all talk, and eyeball talking would have ruined the seriousness of the moment.
True.
Rose. You didn't poof me, Rose.
Jasper could have been Rose. That would have been okay.
Oh my god.
I'm a thought, Rose.
Yeah, no, that would have been good. That's the new meme.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that'd be a total meme if that happened.
So, yep, Steven's just our poor traumatized child. Save him. So, I guess the only thing we haven't really talked about, we did talk about Garnet, and we mentioned the, the iconic scene, Justin. You said that scene made it worth it, all of them laying on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
What about the Garnet and Stevonnie parallels? granted, I'm not a Stevonnie shipper, or Connie. There's a fusion. The ship name, this fandom.
Connieverse is the other name.
It's so confusing. Like, I know Rootfire is like it just, like,
yeah.
I don't get it.
So many.
But there are some, also we didn't, I wanted to mention earlier about when we were talking about the abstract and the animation. We also have, they play with colors a lot here, and kind of very subtly over our characters' faces. And so, any thoughts on our parallels here?
The color scheme reminded me a lot of Watchmen, the comic specifically, like the use of secondary colors as opposed to primary mostly, and using that to kind of juxtapose. If Sam listens, she's going to literally murder me for probably ruining everything about art. But no, I thought it was a very good way, because the orange, the use of orange is very, very, very jarring.
Yes.
And I think it gave the desired effect.
Great example.
Mm-hmm.
I would like it. It's also part of the It's kind of, orange is my favorite color, but orange is kind of a sick color when you and especially what they used it, the way they used it, and it was very. Also, I live in Kentucky. Tornadoes are a thing, and the sky turns this terrifying orange shade when there's going to be a tornado, and that's no bueno. It's not good stuff.
Whoa.
No. And definitely, this sick. They really, it's abstract and it's kind of weird, and you don't really know what's going on at first, but then. I think the colors make it. And also we have a lot of swirling kind of backgrounds.
Mm-hmm, to add to the being in your mind kind of vibe, which is also I think probably why the colors are the way they are. And I was thinking back to Shillotide when he's kind of in Lapis's mind. It's this very kind of nauseating bright green color. So yeah, they have a thing with colors going on and being in the mind for sure. And
they went over the Dylan said, Steven was kind of compared to Ruby and Connie to Sapphire. I disagree. I think it was the other way around. So I'm curious what your thoughts on that were.
Yeah, because Connie, initially, she was just focused on that one butterfly. The one that represented hurting the boy. But, I don't know. Was it that after she let, that out, every other kind of insecurity she had buried inside her just, was unleashed?
Yeah, she had a swarm.
Yeah.
For me,
Steven had a swarm towards the end of the episode, too.
It was he had 4 hallucinations. That boy's got a lot going on. Woo.
Got a lot.
And then No, go ahead, Justin.
Going with what I was saying earlier about how they were kind of exploring the dichotomy between Ruby and Sapphire's places in gem society and like their makeup of like what they think and how much they can actually process. I don't think either Steven or Connie can be a fair comparison because they're both human beings. You know, they have varying levels of complexity. Okay, you see my point.
They're not.
Steven's not a hive mind.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a good point. That is, the Brave New World kind of idea of like how, which again, I will reference this every time we talk about Homeworld because it's literally Brave New World. And like the way like people are literally designed to have one function and they cannot, this is different. In the show, people are clearly able to act beyond their function and they, become individuals. In Brave New World, you literally cannot act beyond your function. Like you are incapable of doing so. And that kind of ties in with Ruby, having the one thought, and then Sapphire. But this is kind of like a really obvious parallel, but when they were laying on the ground, I took, Connie and Ruby both laid down. To me, that was like, same. And then...
okay.
Did anyone else get that? Or it could have just been me. That's okay. I'm a little simple-minded. It's alright.
No. I think it's a good point. I hadn't thought of that, but now that I am, I think it's something to consider. I mean, I guess, like, you can draw direct parallels if you want. You can also not, because they are technically different, but... I mean,
it's hard to compare.
Yeah.
Justin, did you have any... Did you see what I meant, or were you like, Delaney's silly?
Well, Delaney is silly, but that's not that has nothing to do with this argument. I thought you have a point. I definitely see it. I think they could have been trying to do that parallel. Because in this episode, Connie was the kind of aggressive one, and Steven the more, I don't want to say passive, but
reserved, I think.
The pacifist might be the best word. Because, I mean, Steven basically is, especially when it comes to the gems, he's like a pacifist that's forced to fight. Yeah,
no, definitely. I mean, that's why of course he's so broken up over what he's had to do. Because
fighting's like a last resort for him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, of course, and he's so torn up over, he was unable to save Jasper, and then he didn't shatter her, but he had to, get bismuth, and...
kicked Ruby out of the bubble into space.
I don't know.
That's probably the roughest thing he's done.
I don't know I don't know the timeline like of the episodes, but we saw this all happened in a week for the kid.
True.
That's
a really good point. Like, okay, nap. Can we give Steven a nap? Like, well, there was some... I do think they spaced out a little bit. I'm assuming it was a little, like, they had their training session. I think they have their training session once a week. So I think, like, the beginning of the episode is, like, a week, and then the rest of the episode's a week. I doubt, like, she came back the next day. Like, oh, like, go take a nap, Connie, and, like, everyone take a break, then come back and fuse.
Oh, right. Well, still, the murders happened within, like, a week.
Or, like, I mean,
Bismuth
even the past month, that's, like, a lot. That's 4 people in, like, a month. That's a lot, so...
Especially, you're not used to murdering people.
One murder in a month is quite a lot.
Exactly, like, it's Steven's got a lot on his plate right now. Like, he's done quite... I mean, he was, like, in space. Like, what is going on?
The thing is, Connie was able to fix it by, she went to Jeff, worked things out. Things are fine with her and Jeff. 100% fine. Steven can't fix this.
Yeah.
Bismuth, you could unbubble. Jasper, if you unbubble, that could have disastrous results. We don't know where the rubies are.
They're just floating in space.
Yeah, they're in space. We know where they are, sort of, in like a broad way.
In a broad way. They're just...
In the broad way.
In the broadest way imaginable.
Like, they're just out there. But,
they are living on Neptune.
I think that's the last place they'd go back to. The absolute...
They already know nothing's there.
Every planet in this cruddy solar system!
Going back to Justin, what you said about Steven, like, he can't fix this, I think if there is any, like, kind of, like, discussion about, discussion TM on the internet.
Discussion TM.
I do think, we were talking about this is very relatable, what they're talking about, and it's, obviously this is very personal, this issue, and, it's obviously very personal to Rebecca. This is her song, and she talked about it at Comic-Con, and, we see this, it played out beautifully in this episode, but it is interesting, like, I think a little bit they play up this, just talk about it, you have to think about it, and it'll be okay. I think we kind of solve Connie, like it worked for Connie. Connie, feels good. She's in a good place. She's able to help Steven. But we're not done with Steven.
Yeah.
And this isn't, and you're right, it can't be solved. This is, like, Steven is living with consequences that, honestly, Connie can't comprehend. Not in that, like, she's, like, mentally incapable.
She has
right, she's had an experience.
So it's always going to be removed for her, to an extent.
Which I think we're building to that, though, where Stevonnie is going to have to do something. Because seeing Stevonnie training means Stevonnie's going to fight, which means Stevonnie might end up having to bubble a gem. And what's that going to do to Connie? What's that going to do to Connie and Steven's relationship?
Mm-hmm.
Well, how will Stevonnie react? Like, this... Right. I mean, watching this... I mean, we kind of got a little bit of it when... How they did this was just amazing when... It's so interesting because when we have Garnet kind of break up, you get the different voices and you kind of know what's going on. Stevonnie just sounds the same when they're talking, but you know who's talking, which is just excellent. Just the voice acting on that is incredible. And we get Bismuth, and it's like, who's that? Bismuth. And it's like, oh my god. And I think we got that a little bit, that Connie is getting this... It's a bit like, full disclosure, that, just took me a minute to remember the name of the episode. I was about to be like, Justin, help. Connie's kind of peeking really into what life really is like for Steven. Yeah, she's living it, but this is real. This is what Steven's been through, and I don't think Steven knows, Connie doesn't know Steven unfortunately knows everything that's going on. Connie doesn't. And I think we saw that a little bit, how that might impact Stevonnie in the future. Though I'm not sure how this will manifest.
It will be interesting, and I think we're going to see more of that this season. By what we've seen so far this season, I think, this season and the back part of season 3.
Right.
I think you can definitely tell we're going to go a lot more Stevonnie, because we've seen Stevonnie twice in 2 weeks now. 3 weeks, whatever.
We've been in a Stevonnie drought. Not even a drought, because we weren't expecting Stevonnie, so.
Right.
Is there anything y'all are dying to talk about?
I think we've hit the bases.
Yeah, we've hit the big stuff. I mean, there's always going to be more, but I feel
Which
good.
you can talk about on Saturday morning by sending us your feedback for this episode.
Keep going. Do it. Finish it.
Yeah, go ahead.
What?
Go ahead, Justin.
No, I just meant finish your, send it to...
Send it to Justin at overlyanimated.com or send me Tumblr asks at friendlygeeks3. You can find the link for that if you can't understand what I'm saying at overlyanimated.com on our wonderful bios page, where you can follow all of us on Tumblr.
It's true. And then some Instagrams. We can close out... True. We can close out by, if y'all want to say your favorite jokes or gags or cute things that happen. We kind of talked a little bit about it in the beginning.
I think the give the phone to me was probably my favorite. That was just so great.
Steven and Connie's fusion dance. This is their first real fusion dance.
Yeah, that was really funny.
It's
They
really
were so into it.
Moonwalk fusion.
It's awkward, middle school dance fusion.
Oh, yeah.
It's excellent. Also, the most awkward fusion dance in the universe, the hologram pearl.
Oh yeah, it was so jerky and weird. I forgot about that, but I remembered it was really funny.
Also,
yeah.
Why can hologram pearl fuse? Why is that a thing?
I don't know. Pearl can do what she wants with
Pearl
her
can do
minions.
what she wants. True.
Make my holograms grow.
Oh my god.
That was
That's my first Power Rangers reference in 3 months. Okay.
Okay.
Actually, no. I referenced it on maybe. I'm sorry.
You literally referenced it.
Yes,
the other day, so... Okay,
but
so
yesterday is technically the future.
Shh, Justin, don't break the fourth wall, man. Shh.
This show has a fourth wall?
Yeah, obviously.
Everything has a fourth wall.
Oh, and so I think we can all agree Garnet is the treasure of the episode. Comedically, Garnet is the treasure.
Comedically, absolutely.
I mean, Garnet's always the treasure.
You, one side for Stevonnie.
Also, it was a period.
In one.
Who makes a sign with a period on it? Garnet.
Garnet.
That was so cute. Even the sign was a fusion. I loved that.
I love how Steven had to specify that was a fusion joke, just in case Connie couldn't figure out that fusion sign was a fusion joke.
She's been fusing for a while, yeah.
Also, how many times... We need to go back and count how many times I say fusion in this episode.
Oh my god.
Fusion.
It's quite a bit. Also, new power, Stevonnie can float.
Yeah.
Did Stevonnie float or just,
No, she floated.
She floated.
It was a little awkward, leg flapping, but
float.
it was a float of a sort.
Can someone please message me on Tumblr and tell me what Stevani's pronouns are? That'd be really helpful.
Oh, it's they. I'm
It's
sorry.
They. Okay, that's what I thought. No, I wasn't trying. I've been trying to remember this entire time. It's very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I just get confused.
I was honestly expecting them to start using a non-binary pronoun, which I still don't know how any of them are pronounced because I only learned them from a text-based video game.
They is they.
Well, I mean, like one of the ones that has been
okay.
like ones that you wouldn't hear normally.
I got you. All
like
right.
I think Z.
It might happen.
I've heard.
Yeah,
I've heard
Z.
those.
Yeah, I'm sure it's coming. I mean, this show does everything, so I mean,
Yeah, it's Steven Universe.
you ask
We'll
it, and
see
you ask it
probably.
of Steven Universe, and Steven Universe provides. So, any last thoughts, feelings?
Everybody, go rewatch this episode. It's so beautiful.
Yes.
Song on repeat.
And then give us
for now.
feedback.
Song on repeat, like tears,
Yeah.
sob. I think I think I am going to agree with Justin that this might be better than Stronger Than You, which for Delaney to say is like, Delaney has a Stronger Than You t-shirt, like, this
That means
is
a lot, Delaney.
This is
Very
real.
nice.
I mean, I've listened to Stronger Than You like a million times, so this is like, I'm waiting for them to put this on like the World of Steven Universe so I can listen to it for like 2 hours. But also,
it is on a channel already. If you search
Good.
it, you'll find it.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Also, this was literally like Steven Universe Avatar episode. Just have to do my.
That was.
We call
I'm
this episode the Funky Guru.
I mean,
Funky
basically, it's Guru Patik. Like, that's what Garnet was. She was Guru Patik. So. But I think we're done, children. So,
Okay.
I will read us out.
Right.
So.
Are you going to try to be as fast as Dylan?
No, that's not gonna
Are you
happen.
going to pronounce
good.
each
That's
name?
good.
Yes, I will pronounce each name because I am not an auctioneer.
What is this new idea?
Because you're not an auctioneer.
I'm not an auctioneer. Also, we do have a new thing, which I didn't know about. Did I miss this? I don't know. Apparently we have an iTunes review of the week. This is Dylan's new segment.
What? Oh, right. He did mention this a long time ago, I guess.
Okay, so we have from FJ1333. I am so glad I found the podcast. I love that there are so many different personalities and viewpoints on the podcast, which sets up for hilarious disagreements. I think that's aimed at Justin specifically. So,
Yeah,
good stuff.
so many, actually, just two.
So good. You can honestly tell they work hard on the podcast, seeing that they literally just covered 20 plus daily episodes in a row without missing one. Very entertaining podcast, which I now live for. And then there's like the heart emoji, like it's like less than 3. I think that's what that one is. So thank you, FJ1333.
I like to take a shot every time that person wrote podcast, because it was quite a few times. But
I mean,
we are a podcast,
kudos,
though.
we are a podcast. We love iTunes reviews. Your review too can be read on air in Delaney's weird accent, and I will mispronounce all of the words.
See, you get that for free. All you have to do is submit.
Yeah, you just give a review. Like,
You just have to tell us you like us. That's all you have to do is be
Yeah.
nice and pay compliments.
but also, you can find out all the info on this podcast at overlyanimated.com. And you can leave us a review and or support us via Patreon at patreon.com/overlyanimated. So if you become a patron at I think it's just $1 a month, you can get a nickname. Like, awesome. We will think really hard and we will give you an awesome nickname. So, thanks to our current patrons, Mitch, Cordell, Beatrice, Nate, Andy, Jamie, Rachel, John, Ryan, Catherine, Taylor, Davon, Jade, John, Phoenician, Fever Mitch, Cordell University, Beatrix Lestrange, Nathan Fillion, Buzz Lightyear, Mailman, Rachel Rose, Johnny Bravo, Brian, Cookie Cat, Needle, Diamond Day, Jewel, Garfield, and to be decided. We are working on the newest nickname. Look for on Sunday our Ladybug Roundtable, which is on favorite villains. So that's fun. Top 5 favorite villains. Me, Justin, and Dylan have lists, and it's exciting. And me and Dylan are rude to Justin like normal. Pretty typical, right, Justin? And thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you next time. Bye!
Bye.